Hi there everybody, it's Verity who makebutterfly.com. Thank you so much for joining me today. We are going to be using the Greenery Lane bundle and the coordinating washi tape to create a card today. Really nice and simple, just to create a nice panel rather than die cut it. We've got similar washi tape already available in the catalogue, called Extraordinary Flora. Slightly different way this one works. Instead of one large die, we've got lots of little ones, so you can either cut this apart or you can use it as it is. And we've got all the other stamps and dies that you can combine with it as well. Okay, so bundle and the washi tape, beautiful. Okay, so also got some great sentiments, really good. Wishing you well, here for you, love and hugs, and a little thank you as well. Okay, so lots and lots that we can do with this, but like I say, we're just going to keep it real simple today and create the panel with a full strip of this tape and embellish. Okay, so first things first, let's make our panel. So I'm just going to bring in white willow. Yeah, white willow, to create the panel. Now, what I am going to just quickly check is whether this is, because the background is going to be translucent, so a bit like a vellum. So if you were to put this onto a darker cardstock, which literally I've just this minute thought about doing, I know this is blue, but you know, you would get a different look with this. So just something to bear in mind. You might want to use some different cardstock to create a different look. Okay, so this is the correct length, or height I should say, of 5 3/4, which is you know, a card panel. Okay, so I'm just going to lay this down, but we're going to trim it down widthways, which takes the pressure off trying to get it straight. Okay, it's going to be the right length but not the right width. So if this goes down a little bit wonky, it doesn't matter, we can trim it and fix it. Okay, so don't stress your beans about trying to line it up. Okay, we can you can fix it by trimming it. Okay, so as I alluded to, here's the dies. So this one, for example, we'll cut out this little bit here. We've got this one with a die here. That one is this one. We've got that one there. So all of these little bits and pieces will die cut, and I believe even these little teeny tiny ones will cut out these little flowers as well. Okay, the ones at the bottom here, the two larger ones that we're going to use. Where's my other one? There it is. So this one and this one are standalone, but the others will cut out elements from the washi tape if you want to use it that way, or you can stamp them and die cut them. So there's two-step stamping, so you can create your own colours if you don't want garden green and Lost Lagoon. Okay, so trim that down in terms of that. So I'm just going to flip that over on the edge just to make sure it's nice and straight and neat. So that top, we're not going to slice anything there, we're just going to trim down on the edges. This one's quite close, so we'll just take a little bit off this one. So just go for it and just line it up and make sure you cut in a nice little bit off. So I mean, what's that? It's about 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to cut off there, like so. And then I'm going to twizzle that round. It's going to be a nice straight edge, and we'll take it to, let's see, let's take it to that. What's that? We're not going to get away with 3 1/2. So this time round, this is going to be 3 3/8. Okay, but you can trim this down to whatever you want. You can cut the top as well. It's all stuck down to the white willow. It's not going to peel away. It's going to be really nice and stuck down, and if you burnish it even more with a bone folder, that's not going to go anywhere. Okay, so this happens to, yeah, like I say, 3 3/8 mine is, but the height is 5 3/4, which is a full height card panel. So on our sample, I just went with the garden green, which coordinates with the washi tape. Okay, but the other colour in there is Lost Lagoon, and I actually quite like Pretty Peacock alongside the Lost Lagoon, so we're going to switch that out today for a completely different look. Okay, kind of it's, I think the way the pattern repeats, you get different colours where here and there. So as you can see, that one's darker than that one, so yeah, it's it repeats itself with the dark and a light. Okay, so we'll use that today, and this is just going to go flat on the cardstock. So I'm just going to use some of, in fact, do you know what, I'm going to use double-sided tape because this is like a non-porous surface, so I'm just going to use a bit of that. Not my normal adhesive, but we're going to use a bit of that, just that we can get right up to the edge there and not worry about that. I might use a combination actually, because we can just use this on the bottom and the top. Like so, and we can just use a bit of seal to secure the edges there. So we'll take off that and just stick it on. See, it's a non-porous surface. You have to get that really burnished on, or use the wet glue. Ooh. That doesn't want to transfer. There we go, got it. So burnish it really, really well, or use wet glue. There you go, live problem solving here. Okay, wet glue it is. Now it's stuck to me. And we'll pop that centrally, left and right, and then obviously we know we only have that little narrow border top and bottom, and just press that down. You can pop a block on there to help weigh that down, so I'll just pop a couple of blocks on either end just to put some pressure onto those. What I've done ahead of time is die cut one of these leaves, but we need to do another one. So we're going to use our Pretty Peacock ink with the stamp. I do love Pretty Peacock, it's such a lovely colour. So I'm not worried about the stem falling off this, because we're die cutting it and we've got to sort of fit it behind a couple of punch shapes. So I'm just making sure that that top bit stamps. Okay, so you know, it's not going to matter that that's not there. In fact, it actually might be to our advantage, so we don't get too much like overlap of those die cuts. And while we've got the ink out, I'm going to stamp the sentiment and use the same one, but this time I'm going to use Modern Oval. I used the Heartfelt Hexagon on the original sample, but I do find that often but not necessarily always. These two punches have similar dimensions and can work reasonably interchangeably, so they are awesome to use together. Okay, so we just need to get this die cut. So we'll just line this up with that stamped image. Just line it up until you can't see any white bits. Oops. We'll tack that into place. Just use a couple of bits of tape because it sort of wibbles a bit, and we'll just run that through the die cut machine. Okay, so that's where we use the hexagon before. Of course, you can use dies if you want to. Circle punches would work if that's what you have as well. Okay, so we're going to create sort of a sort of elongated sort of topper here that we can then put along our card. Okay, so let's bring in our card base. Now I've put mine towards the bottom on my sample. The other thing about the heartfelt hexagon is that it came over the edge, which is cool. So with this one, if it's not going to come over the edge, I'm going to put it a little bit more central, I think. And I think I might put it further up and cover up a bit more of the garden green elements. So I think we're going to go with something like that and have that to the one side, but nevertheless we're going to have it towards the top. Okay, but what we're going to do is I'm going to just use another punch, and as we've just learned, wet glue's better. And I'm going to just use this as the base where I'm going to aim this to be. Okay, which means I can pop some glue on this and make sure it's sitting where I want it to sit, and just press it in wherever it needs to be, straight, wonky, whatever you want, and press that into that glue. And I'm not worried about any of that overlap because I know that it's going to get covered up by this. Okay, and we're going to use some dimensionals just to give this a bit more oomph as well, and I'm going to use the minis, which I didn't get out. There we go. Oops. So you don't want to be putting all your dimensional adhesive over the top of all that texture. So I'm just going to pop a couple up there. I can probably fit in a bit of a longer bit there. Maybe this little piece, just from the, like, you know, the edge bits. Okay, and if you wanted a bit of extra sort of assurance, you could pop some dabs of wet glue on the middle there where it'll come into contact. Okay, and then we can just pop our sentiment over the top. We can just line it up. Like so. There we go. Cute. Cute, cute, cute. I'm going to finish it off with some metallic, what are these called? Adhesive backed metallic gems. Okay, on this one I used the copper with the garden green. I think it looks nice with garden green, like that sort of like verdigris kind of combination. I think we'll use gold on these ones. And we'll have them scattered around the place. So I actually used 5 on the I was feeling extravagant. So we'll have some of these guys. dotted around. There's 2 sizes, so we can make those sort of trickle up the card. So there we go. That's lovely. Okie dokie. So that's our card with Greenery Lane today. And using a colour that isn't necessarily in that tape, just to sort of expand how it can look. Probably loads of different contrasting colours we can use with this, but I thought this was nice combination. Okay, so as always, there's going to be a link in the description to all the products that we've used today, straight into the online store. Well worth having a look as we come into February. So today will be the 3rd, so we're now launching the starter kit promotion. So if you want to get your hands on one of the new Stampin positioners, which I featured on one of my video yesterday with the SA UK, then you can get this as part of your starter kit. £99 as always, £130 of product, but you will automatically get the Stampin' Positioner in there as well. So worthwhile having a look at that, and we'll get a new product of the month launching soon. I don't know what it is at the point of filming, so February we'll see another one of those. Lots of stuff, and if you join in February you'll be able to pre-order March online exclusives. There's some really nice ones. Okay, that's it from me today. Thanks ever so much for stopping by, and I hope you've enjoyed the project. Stay safe, take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.